talking about the adversary system. Always somebody should be dominant and somebody submissive. That led to 4 kinds of dysfunctional communication. Now I want to quickly go over that. Most of you know it, but what I want also for you to have is another tool that you can use when in your triad you need to have something to unstick you or to go further with it. So if we look at, and I'm going to make this like this, the adversary system, which is a dominant submission idea, which is the same thing as the taking care and the one to be taken care of. It's identical. With it, that there are 4 kinds of communication that go on. Placating, blaming, super reasonable, and irrelevant. They are the natural outcomes of blaming and placating. How many of you are there here who have never encountered these 4 forms of communication? How many are there that have not yet up to this point? Let me see how many there are.
You mean your way of presenting it?
Pardon me?
Are you talking about, have I seen this presented as material?
Yes.
I have.
How many have not? How many have not seen me present this? I want to see how many that is. Okay, all right. Now, what I want to do is I want to have 4 people come up here. Because I want to show you something. Just 4 people. Any 4 could come. You don't have to be with your tribe. Just 4 people. Okay. Now, what I want first of all to do is to say to you that these are all outcomes in an individual and represents the thing most in the foreground for a way of communicating, which also is related to the self-worth, that is the result of the unequal communication that has gone on in our parents. All right. Now, the placating part of this, and let me have you at the moment, and that is I want you to take the physical position, 1 toe, right, and 1 knee and 1 toe, and then you hoist yourself like this under your heart. And then the other arm is a warding off, but at the same time, the kind of feeling of, I have to beg for something. Okay. Then you hold your head up, and your mouth falls open, and whatever falls in is all you get. Now, this is accompanied, this position is accompanied with, whatever you want to do is all right with me. I don't mind whatever you do. If you want it, I'll do it. How many of you know that? Oh, I know it really good. Now, I want you to know that that is the best that you could come up with in relation to what you were learning. It was a way of survival. These are all survival things and need to be respected as survival outcomes. They are, however, in relation to life, always destructive to us in some form or another. We can't avoid that. But I want you to be aware that why we got them in the first place was to survive. And that these survival things are also, when we use them, destructive to us in some way. If not directly destructive, they keep us from having what we need. All right. Now, that's that position. Now, I gave the words that go with it, but now I want to give you the physical that goes with it. In this position, first of all, you need to be aware that this affects the whole digestive system. It affects eating, or people who are into this as a primary way of eating disorders. They have digestive disorders because that whole system, it becomes affected. And then, of course, when any one part of the system is affected, all the others are affected too. All right. So that is that position of placating. The voice also takes on a begging note and a whining note. Okay. Now, people in this position will give long, involved excuses for everybody why they can't do what they're doing, in addition to the things that I was talking about. Remember, I want to put this here, so we don't get into the position of sneering at this. It's destructive, but it was survival. So any of you know how to do this, I think you all do, that you need to respect it. But from now on out, you use it very choosily. Only times when you want to be kicked in the teeth will you use it. Because that's what will happen. Now, I'm going to take you for blaming. All right, now blaming, first of all, you put one hand on your hip, and you put another foot forward. That's right, the foot forward, that's wonderful. Now, the blaming position has things that you never do, you always do, why don't you ever? These are famous blaming responses. All right, now, the body experience in this one is to freeze and stiffen all the muscles, all the fascia. And it is also the adrenaline, the relationship of adrenaline to oxygen in the body in this position is very much off base. There's far more adrenaline goes into the body than oxygen that comes in, and that's what causes a stiffening. And that, of course, shuts off circulation, and why in this position of all the positions you'll see, the effect on seeing and hearing is immediate, almost immediate. People, we talk about blind rage, don't see what's happening. And the more this goes on, the less people see. So they really, in effect, are out of control. Now, the terrible things that happen to people on rage and on abuse are coming from this position. And so they literally cut off their awareness through that. All right, now, the other physical aspects of this are that this will be terrible back trouble, and will have sexual troubles. Well, it might be interesting. And I'll give this over to you. The blaming penis, what do you suppose happens with that? Let us say, with a placating vagina, what kind of sex comes on with that?
Premature ejaculation.
Right, of course. Okay, we're just dealing with the genitals at this moment. I'm just bringing it down a little lower, that's all. All right. Now that's the blaming position. Now let's take that. That is a pairing position that you saw before. All right, now let yourself relax a minute. And now I would like for you to be super reasonable. Now these two last positions are second level from this one. Now the super reasonable position is you put your feet together and you put your hands at your sides. This is an old army position. And you stiffen yourself because you can't do otherwise, and naturally your head goes up, so you will always fall into holes as you walk because you can't see them. Now, you can look holier than thou, which is part of it. Now, this is a super reasonable position in which you talk objective. And you never mention your own word. You never mention yourself. One. And the explanations are long and involved because you really don't believe that anybody else knows anything but you.
So that when one triad wants to be superseded over another triad, one should consider that.
Yes, yes. And the more you talk, and the longer word you use, the more you think you're snowing people. Now then, that's that position. Relax it for a minute. Now let me go. Because this is the hardest one to maintain. And this is, unfortunately, the position that is equated with adulthood. And this is why we will have many backaches, many backaches. Every one of these positions affects the lower back. But this one also affects the shoulders in a terrible way. Now this also affects the flow of juices, tears, milk, semen, even lymphatic secretions. The super reasonable dries it up. And that's why when you look at these people who are so objective, they look so dry and uninteresting. They are, and they really are. So, on that level, but of course once you can move that cloak away and get it, that usually happens when they're drunk. I was so impressed going to professional meetings where everybody was so objective, and then after 5:30 to watch them guzzle alcohol. And I remember going into a women's room one time, and there was a woman in the toilet. She'd slipped off the toilet seat, was so drunk, and was sitting in an overflowed stuff on the floor. And I thought, and I had seen her on the podium that afternoon being super reasonable, and I thought, oh God. because the cost to this is awful, One must. And you can also be sure here, in addition to the drying, that what you have, you feel cracking all the time. You feel like if you do something, you will crack. And it's not very pleasant. It's an unfortunate connection between that this is what adulthood and maturity is all about. Anyway, all right, now we come to relaxing. And now we come to relevance. Relevance is a position in which you were constantly leaving the field because it's a very freeing thing to do. So you started out by putting your feet together like that, which already requires that for you to move, you've kind of got to do all of these things moving in relation to that. Now what I'd like you to do is to take these physical positions in a small circle in relation to each other. Now, I would like you to just look at this. This is a family in action. All right, now let me have you here. And there's a triad in action. Okay? Now you go back here, and you do your thing, and let me take you out. Let me have you out. Now, that's a triad in action. Okay, now you go back where you are, and let me take you out. And that's a triad in action. Okay? Now, one of the things that I hope you will do, let yourself relax for a moment, I hope you will do is when you begin to feel what you're doing, that you go into a posture and say, hey, let me posture this. So you can begin to get the messages from yourself about, hey, I'm placating, or I'm being irrelevant or super reasonable. Just in our training period. This is what it is today, you know, and all the rest of this time, a training period. So when you begin to feel that, then let yourself take those positions, because this is a wonderful tool to let yourself come in touch.
What are the physical symptoms of irrelevancy?
Oh, thank you. Irrelevancy, first of all, it affects the central nervous system and balance. So dizziness is one of the outcomes. And the language that goes with that is that you're never on the point. Never on the point. Somebody says hello to you, you start talking about John John Henry or Hancock or something like that. Or look at the sky and wonder about something. Some way that you're not on the verbal point. And then you keep moving. Keep always something moving. You whistle a little bit and move something else. You know, like something like those rock groups go, you know. Okay. Pardon me?
Perfect example.
Yes, yes. Fine, fine. Okay. So, the physical condition, as I said, is the central nervous system disturbance. See, and remember something. Whenever any part of us is disturbed, all the rest of it has to try to balance. And that's how come the physical situation. Our back might hurt, but when we're bending it, but the pain might be felt over here, because these are all relationships of dysfunction. Take them all again. Well, you can move out the circle a little so the group can see you a little bit. These are all relationships of dysfunction, but they are all representing the survival that people had. 90% of the people you'll meet in the world are doing one of these positions. And one of these is out front more than something else. And so one of the things is that you will need to discover that. I want to help you to do that. Because when you are in these positions, I want to show you, there is no way to be intimate. Let me show you now. You take those positions that you had, and now very gently and slowly, take one step in your position toward the center, trying to move in the direction in which you're facing. Take it. One step in the direction which you're facing. Forward. One step forward, everybody. Forward some more. Okay, some more. Some more. Okay, all right. Now you see, these people are trying to be intimate. But they can't be. It's because the intimacy that they're trying to get is destructive. This is the only one who's going to get out, and heaven only knows where she'll go. All right. Now, there is no way that we can get the feeling of value from ourselves in these positions. You have to complain from where you are that nobody really cares about you. And you,
Getting suffocated then.
of course, but that's what you do anyway. You know, low self-worth and all that. So these positions represent, remember, our survival. They are also in our hands. Used this way, become survival, or become destruction. All right. Now, I want you all to take a position. The position you had. Now what I want you to do is take another position.
Any other one?
Any one of the others. Are you taking a blaming position? All right, hand on your hip, like this. That's right. Now, isn't it interesting what just now happened? All right, change your positions again. Now, what's happening now is what you will see over time with people. And that is the first one that's out front. And then you will see these other ones happening. And the part that makes us feel that we're getting someplace is that part between one position and the next. There is no real connection in relation to this. It's just that we get free from this position. Now, I want you to take the positions that you take another set of positions. Each one of you take a different one. Put your hands beside of you. You're going to do, that's right, super reasonable, okay? All right. Now stop where you are and take the position that you have very tight, very tight. And that tightness of that position represents the way in which you want to live. And you are going to do this position well, all right? Okay. Now you probably are aware that things are beginning to hurt. But if you can, deny, ignore, distort, or project. It's your fault. No, it's not going on. It doesn't exist. It's something else. All right. That's how we do that. And we keep right on going. And we are paying from our feeling of not being connected is there and so on. All right. Now, what I want you to do is give yourself a message. I am of value. All right. Just give yourself a message. Just stay where you are. Give yourself a message. And then just say to yourself, I value me, and now take a breath and let your body expand to fit the amount of breath you're taking. And check to see if you're standing on your own feet. If not, give yourself permission to stand on your own feet. And shake it out a little bit and see what's cooking. Okay. Now, look around at your members and see what you want to do with them, and do it. Isn't that interesting? You know, I think we got arms placed on the top for a reason. When we're standing on our own feet, the natural thing for our arms is to do that. But when we're in those other positions, to put out our arms like that is invited to be stepped on. All right. Now, just let yourself at this moment in time start now to think, I've got it. It's the final thing. I know how to do it now. And let your arms and hands and body represent how much you want to keep this like this. You didn't do it. You were wise. Because if you hadn't done what you've done, you would have started suffocating yourself. Because now we go to another rigid thing. Are you aware of that? All right. But for my purpose is to teach. Will you put your arms back where you were? Now that looks positive, doesn't it? All right. So now just make your arms and your whole body rigid to hang on what you got. That's right. We got it now. That's what a lot of people do. And what I'd like you to do now is to, when you feel a tightness, no matter where you feel it, again, give yourself permission to appreciate yourself, breathe, let your body expand, and take the steps that you need to accomplish that. And how'd that feel?
Freeing.
Now, what you saw from those positions to this is both of these right here now. Is what I'm trying to accomplish. That's all. So the bodies will be free, and they can move, and the fascia and the muscles and all the rest of that can conduct what they need to, and then adrenaline and oxygen can move into the body in the way in which that they are in balance with one another, and people can initiate different kinds of behaviors in terms of what's happening, and they can come from their feet, not ever from moving. Go ahead and move some more. That's what I really want to accomplish. Now, I want to have a, thank you, that's lovely. Doesn't it look graceful?